How's it going, everyone? Coach Javi here. Welcome back to the channel. Our boy Ruben Amorim has saved his job for another day. And I think up until that Bruno Fernandes free kick, it was pretty clear that they were going to lose 2-0. I did not see a way for them to come back. Every time I look at the Manchester United players and the formation and the lineup, it's not necessarily the formation. Everyone gives Ruben Amorim shit for saying that these players can't play in this formation. I don't think these players can play in any formation. I think the fact that Ten Hag and the board made some really stupid mistakes with their transfer signings before Ruben Amorim got there is really starting to explode on them right now. And the reason why it didn't explode on them before with Erik Ten Hag was because Ten Hag, his solutions were all little band-aid fixes. He would see a problem and he'd find a way to patch it up really quickly. And it was like the holes in a boat, like one hole pops up, he finds a way to fix it. Another one pops up, he finds a way to fix it. But ultimately, at some point, that boat is going to sink. And that's exactly what happened to Manchester United. These holes started popping up and people started exposing Manchester United for all of those holes and all of the mistakes that they made in the transfer window. And eventually, Manchester United decided that they needed to replace Erik Ten Hag with Ruben Amorim. The problem with Ruben Amorim is that he came in and he said, we're not just going to patch up these holes, we're going to tear apart the entire boat and start from scratch. And then that caused everything to explode, and now they're in the situation that they're in. I don't think that they're going to sack Ruben Amorim because as long as he stays out of the relegation battle, they're going to give him until next season. They've admitted their faults with keeping Erik Ten Hag that long with the transfer issues, so now they're going to leave it up to him, trusting him that after the summer transfer window, he's going to have the team that he wants to be able to play in the formation that he has. And I think right now Manchester United sit 13 points above the relegation battle, so he's relatively safe unless they really start to drop a lot of points. But even then, I don't think any of the bottom three are going to get enough points to put Manchester United in a dangerous position. So Ruben Amorim will stay to the summer. I can pretty much guarantee that. I don't think there's going to be any changes regardless of how bad the results are from now until the end of the season. Here is the problem with Ruben Amorim. He came in and everyone knew his formation, everyone knew his style of play. And that's a problem because at the highest level, the hardest league that you can play at in the world is the Premier League. And in the Premier League, you have some actually legit managers. Even the worst managers understand tactically how to make the right changes, how to make the right adjustments. So when you have a manager that comes in and everyone knows exactly how he plays, where the players are positioned all throughout the field and how they build out, how they defend, you can come up with a game plan to stop it. And so I think that was the biggest mistake from Ruben Amorim. Everybody knew he was coming in with a 3-4-2-1. He wanted 3 center backs. He wanted wing backs who could push forward. He wanted a really good hold-up striker, somebody who could score goals. And then you wanted players underneath like Bruno Fernandes and somebody maybe like Amad Diallo because he offsets those two underneath the striker where one maybe sits in a little bit more, the other one makes runs in behind. All of these details were public. I guarantee all of these Premier League managers could go on YouTube and just search up Ruben Amorim's style of play, tactics, formation, and there's loads of videos on how he did it at Sporting. I think obviously when you're in Portugal, it's a little bit different because Ruben Amorim has said himself that there's 2 or 3 teams at the top of Portugal who are really hard to beat, and then everyone else you can pretty much control the game. So as long as you have better players and you've developed a good style of play, you should be able to win those games. It doesn't happen like that anymore in the Premier League. There's no longer really the big six. The big six are scattered throughout different positions in the Premier League. So now every single match in the Premier League is actually quite difficult. Besides really just Southampton, everyone else has a chance to beat you on any given day. And so when you come in and say that you're not going to change anything about your formation or your style of play, then it becomes very easy to figure out for all of these teams in the Premier League. I've noticed that he started to make a couple of changes. The formation has been slightly different. It's no longer the 3-4-2-1. He switched it to a 3-5-2. There's little tiny changes that he's made, but the truth is that the formation is still the same. He's still playing with 3 center backs. He's still playing with the wing backs. These little changes are not really enough for him to be able to change the trajectory of where Manchester United is heading right now with the players that he has. He's not going to go in the press conference and throw his players under the bus and say that he needs new players. He's obviously going to blame himself. He's going to find a way to take the blame off the players. But I think deep down, Ruben Amorim knows that in the summer, he wants half of these guys at the very least to go somewhere else. He wants to bring in new players who are not just positionally better for the formation that he wants to play, but just better overall. If you look at Manchester United right now, you guys tell me who in their current roster is a top level player. I'll tell you one, and that's Bruno Fernandes. I think if it was up to Ruben Amorim, Bruno Fernandes is the only player that he would keep in the starting 11. The problem is that Ruben Amorim is not going to be able to sign 10 or 11 new players in the transfer window, at least not good enough to play in the system that he wants. So he's going to have to make a decision. He's going to be able to get maybe 3 or 4 players that can help him. And if he feels like they're going to be good enough to make a difference, he's going to stay in the same system. However, when the next season starts, we're about 5 or 6 games in, and Manchester United has only won 1 or 2 of those 6 games, then all of the focus is going to shift from, oh, the players aren't good enough, the players can't play in the system, Manchester United screwed Ruben Amorim with the players that they gave him. That is going to completely change, and it's going to go all on Ruben Amorim. He's got his players, he had his transfer window, he's had plenty of time to train, and he's still getting bad results. This is not the right way to go. We need to find a new manager. And Manchester United are in absolute shambles right now when it comes to their financial situation. They're laying people off at the club. You guys already know they cut Sir Alex Ferguson's contract, a lot of workers at the club, and this is all supposedly to have more money for the summer transfer window. Ruben Amorim has already said it. If they want to spend in the transfer window, they're also going to have to sell some of their players. And the way that some of their players are performing right now, these teams are going to be able to bid the absolute minimum price to take some of these players away. And even though I'm putting all the blame on the players, I do think Ruben Amorim has been way too stubborn to change his system. And in the modern game, you have to be able to play in multiple formations and multiple systems. And right now, Ruben Amorim is still staying strong and firm on his beliefs that his formation has to work and it's going to work. He just needs a little bit more time. However, I do want to highlight this because I think this is important. Antony has gone to Real Betis. Everyone thought that was a terrible acquisition just because of his performances at Manchester United. Every time I saw him play, I didn't think the guy was not just anywhere near $100 million for his original signing to Manchester United, but I honestly didn't even think that that guy could start in the Southwest Detroit Sunday Mexican leagues. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he goes to Real Betis and he's got the Man of the Match award in like his first 3 games and he's got 3 goals in 3 games. Clearly, it's not just Antony, but it's something to do with the culture, with what's going on at Manchester United that caused him to underperform so much and lose his confidence to the point where you can see night and day when he goes to a different team, a team that's welcoming, a team that probably has a better system for that team in place, and Antony is actually a legitimate player right now. The last thing I'm going to say as well is that Everton is not an easy team to beat. Forget the Everton that was with Sean Dyche. This is the new Everton with David Moyes, and David Moyes and Everton are like Real Madrid in the Champions League. He did such a good job with them before he went to Manchester United, where dreams go to die, and now that he's back with Everton, I believe he's got one of the highest points in the Premier League since he's been back with Everton. I don't think there's any teams in the Premier League that have gotten more points than David Moyes at Everton since he's been back. So if I'm being honest, a 2-2 draw against Everton is probably a very good result considering they were also away at Everton and not playing at home at Old Trafford. So you guys let me know your thoughts. Is it actually time for us to start having a conversation about Ruben Amorim, about him losing his job? Or do you guys think that this plan will continue throughout the end of the season where no matter what happens, he's going to stick around and then they're going to give him that summer transfer window? Let me know in the comment section down below. We'll catch you guys in the next one.